This is the Michael Bryan Show. Inspire, empower, and educate with Ivana Katz. Ivana, what have you overcome or achieved?
I've always been terrified of public speaking, and I got an opportunity to speak at a business conference, but the problem was I was just recovering from breast cancer. And so I was really weak. I had undergone chemo and radiation and surgery, and I could barely stand for more than 5 minutes. And the presentation was going to be for 45 minutes. And so I was terrified beyond words. But I figured if cancer didn't kill me, public speaking probably wouldn't either.
So what was the struggle like then? Was it all mental or was there something physical as well?
Well, it was both. The mental side was probably more torturous because the physical side you can sort of take a few pills and you feel better and but with the mental side of things that was really difficult because I never believed that what I wanted to say was valuable enough, and so that was part of the struggle, standing in front of a room full of women, being afraid that they're going to judge you. That was also terrifying. But like I said, I figured, if not now, when? And so I felt really proud when I did achieve it, that I did it at a time when I was at my weakest.
What were the steps that you actually took then? Is there a breakdown that you can give people?
Yeah. So what I did was I sat down and I wrote all the problems that I was facing. So one of them was not knowing how to do the presentation, never used the technology, never used the microphone. I had lost 70% of my hair. So I wrote all of these things down. And then I started working on the presentation. I had about 6 weeks to prepare. One of the major problems that I had was I was suffering from something called chemo brain, which means you can barely remember your name. And so I started learning how to use PowerPoint properly, how to use the clicker and, how the whole technology worked. And then I started preparing the presentation and finally I started practicing. So every morning when I was at my freshest, which was sort of between 9 and 10 in the morning, I would just run through the presentation until it was engraved in my brain because, like I said, I could barely remember my name. And so just breaking it down into all of the fears that I had, all the things that I wasn't sure how to do, and then slowly working through them. That was probably one of the best things that I could have done. One of the problems, as I said, was that, I could stand up for 5 minutes after the treatments. And so I reached out to the host that was organizing the presentation. I just asked them to have a chair. And it was just such a small thing, but I kept thinking about it for so long, and then I thought, well, that's a simple solution. The worst case scenario is you sit down. It's like not the end of the world. So yes, I broke it down and slowly worked through all the steps one by one.
What would you say were the three biggest lessons that you had then?
I think one of the biggest lessons was that I'm stronger than I gave myself credit for. The other thing too, I think once you overcome a fear that you've been so terrified of, everything else just kind of seems to run smoothly. But the biggest lesson was just breaking down, like when you've got a project, and it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's public speaking or building a website or whatever it is, if you break it into bite-sized pieces and then you just tackle one thing at a time, before you know it, you've nailed it. Every day, work on it half an hour, give yourself time or, a task and just work on it until you've done it. And so ever since then, that's how I do most of my work. If something is overwhelming, I just break it down.
If you could go back, Ivana, and change anything, would you do anything differently?
No, absolutely not. If I could take back the cancer, yeah, but I think no, there's nothing that I would have changed. I was like, I think I have to say, for the first time in my life, I was probably proud of myself. So that was a good feeling.
If
Yeah.
people wanted to enter your world a little bit, get to know you, follow you on social media, maybe, where can people go?
So I build websites for a living. So my website is webforbusiness.com.au, spelled WEB number 4 business.com.au. And since my cancer journey, I've also decided I wanted to do travel blogging, which is something that I've always dreamt of doing. And so I started a travel blog, adventurehq.com.au.
Thanks so much for being a guest on the show. Feel free to subscribe, share the show, leave a review wherever you are listening into your podcasts.